All right, here's a walkthrough practice test number 6. This is from Priority Standards, but they were handed out today on Tuesday, May 27th. So to start, we have an arithmetic series. I'm going to find a sub 1 by plugging in the bottom number equal to 7. So you're going to have negative 47 minus 17 times 7. That's going to equal a number. And then I'm going to plug in a sub n, which is my top number, equal to 21. And that number is going to be negative 47 minus 17 times 21. I'll calculate those out here in just a second. With that, sorry, my allergies are really bad and everything else. Negative 47 minus 17 times 7. So this equals, whoops, undo. Negative 166. And this one equals negative 404. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do the sum of the series. Since I just worked with arithmetic, I'm going to do the sum. So to find sub n equals 21 minus 7 plus 1, which equals 15. So I'm going to go S sub 15 equals 15 parenthesis negative 166 plus negative 104 divided by 2. When I type that in my calculator, I'm going to make sure that I do it first step at the top of the parenthesis, divided by 2, enter, and then times it by 15. Oops. So the sum of this series should be negative 4,275. I trust my math because I did it correctly, but we're just going to double check. So the next thing we have is the sum of a geometric series over here. I'm going to find sub n first. So n is going to equal 6 minus 1 plus 1, which equals 6. I'm going to find a sub 1 only because I'm going to find geometric. So a sub 1 is when the bottom number equals 1, which means I'm going to plug in 4 parenthesis 3 divided by 4, 1 minus 1, which equals 4. And so now that I have that number, I'm going to do the sum of the 6 values equals 4 parenthesis 1 minus parenthesis 3/4 raised to the 6, because those numbers need to match for the sub n's, 1 minus parenthesis 3/4. Whenever you're plugging your rate in, please make sure that you do things correctly. In my calculator, I would plug this in first with divided by parenthesis, this part second, enter, and then times that by 4 and then hit enter. And if I remember right, this is a number that's a decimal. We should get a fraction. Please don't round. Please get a fraction. I know some of us got fractions earlier during period 2. That's cool. Six, enter. 1 minus answer times 4. So my S sub 6 should equal 3367 divided by 256, which is approximately 13.15. Alright, so the next two things we gotta do is we have to do our sum of our finite. So the first thing you need to do is you need to check to see if the ratios are less than 1 for their distance. So we are going to do absolute value of negative 76 over 63. Is that less than 1? The answer is no, so this is the sum doesn't exist. And that's your whole answer there. On the other one, still got to check. So 4/5 absolute value, is that less than 1? That answer is true, so I'm going to find a sub 1. A sub 1 is when the bottom number equals 1. So I'm going to go negative 39, parenthesis 4/5, 1 minus 1, which equals negative 39. And since I have that, I'm now going to plug into the equation of infinity. So sum of infinity for the partial series is equal to negative 39 over 1 minus 4/5. So sum of infinity is going to be approximately, pardon my nose, I might die today with my allergies, minus 39 divided by so this series roughly adds up to the value of negative 195. So that's your infinite series. The next part you have is you have your geometric means, which means we're going to use our original equations we worked with in 10a. So it's a sub n equals a sub 1 plus d parenthesis n minus 1 parenthesis, where this first term here is a sub 1, this second term here is a sub n, no matter what. So we're going to plug those numbers in to find d. N is going to be d6 plus 2 because you have a sub 1 and a sub n, so your n value is going to equal 8. So I'm going to put 863 equals negative 26 plus d parenthesis 8 minus 1. Now add 26 over. And I'm going to have d times 7 is going to equal some number. Pardon my nose. Oh my gosh. 63 plus 26. So this equals out to be 889. And if I divide both sides by 7, my d value equals 127. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add numbers. So starting in that negative 26, I'm going to do this 6 times. I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to end at, let's go, whoops, too far. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and end at 863. So with that, I'm going to add 127 to each of these numbers. So negative 26 plus 127 is 101. 228. 335. Whoops. 330. 355, however. Helps if you can read correctly. 482. 609. 736. And here's my check. If I write that down and I go plus, whoops, answer plus 127, I get 863, which means these are all my answers. So those are my answers. Doing the same thing, geometric. So a sub n is 129 equals negative 3, 1, 3, 4, 7, parenthesis r, parenthesis 6, because I have 4, plus this term and this term, which gives me 6. Minus 1. I'm going to divide by negative 3, 1, 3, 4, 7 on both sides. So I get r to the 5th is going to equal whatever that fraction is, which is not going to be pretty, but it's going to be okay. 129 divided by negative 3, 1, 3, 4, 7. It's going to equal a negative 1 over 243. And you can take the 5th root, which is what I'm going to write up here. 1/5 on both sides. To undo this. Or in my calculator, I could go to y equals, put in x to the 5th, and find out where 243 is. It should be 3, but I'm going to go double check here, which it is. So either you'll get the answer of negative 1 over 3 equals r, or you'll see negative 1 over 3 with parentheses to the 5 equals r to the 5, because that's what you plug in your calculator. This is this work. The blue work gets me the answer, which you still come up to be this answer for your ratio. Now, D is just adding, subtracting. When you see a fraction, you're multiplying by that value, or what you're doing is you are not actually solving this out. What we are doing is we are either going to multiply by negative 1/3, or we are going to divide by negative 3 each time. So, with that, I'm going to write down my numbers of negative 3, 1, 3, 4, 7, comma, and I got to do 4 numbers, so I'm going to go 1, comma, 2, comma, 3, comma, 4, and end at 129, and then I'm going to take the numbers and figure this out. So either way, multiply by negative 1/3 or divide by negative 3, you should get the same answers. And yes, your signs are going to switch up and down. 4, 4, 9. Negative 3, 4, 8, 3. Whoops. One, 1, 6, 1. Negative 3, 8, 7. Oop, this looks promising. and 129, which checks out. So there are those 4 numbers. All right. So last thing we have is we have a word problem with the pendulum swing 17 inches on the first swing. So that means a sub 1 equals 17 inches. The distance will decrease, so we're going to decrease by 3.5%. So I'm going to take 100 minus 3.5, and I'm going to get equal to 96.5%, which gives me 0.965 to equal my R, which 0.965 is less than 1. So infinite series can also be done like this, which is what it's going to ask me. And it says after the 12th swing. So the first thing I want to do is I want to find when n equals to 12. So when n equals 12, I'm going to go S sub 12 equals. So we're going to come back up here and we're going to use this formula here. A sub 1, which was 17. So 17 times 1 minus parenthesis 0.965 raised to the 12th over 1 minus 0.965. Always put your rates in parentheses, make your life easier. Remember, I'm going to type this up as one idea, and I'm going to say what the approximation is for this, and then I'm also going to set up my infinite because it does say, what's if it happens if it does this forever and never stops? What's the hypothetical situation? We're going to take the same set number of starting at 17, and I'm going to take 1 minus 0.965. So what happens is you have to tell the calculator to estimate out how long is it going to take to do 12 and then add everything together, which is what it's doing to your top part of your paper. And then the sum of the infinite series is the other one. So 1 minus 0.965 raised to the 12. 1 minus 0.965. Enter. Times 17. Aw, silly. So approximately my first answer is 168.97 inches total traveled. I don't care which way you spell the word travel. Not going to fight on it. We already had the conversation in period 2. 1L, 2L, 7Ls. You know what? Don't care. Total distance, roughly about 168.97. If it was infinite, it would be 17 divided by 1 minus 0.965 only, which means if it never stops swinging, eventually, as you keep decreasing more and more, it would then go to roughly 485.71 inches. Honestly, either one of those answers is okay with me, and I'll give you total credit for that.